Good morning everyone. As you would have seen from that little intro piece, we've arrived at the venue, done a 1-2 laps, little mooch around. I've never been to the place myself, so don't know what it was all about. Chris has been here a few times before, you may have seen some of his videos, but yeah, we're at Todber Manor, Big Hayes Lake. Just been and made the draw, and we have come out at swim 12, so we were 11th out of a 12-man draw, and we're pretty happy with our swim choice. We've got a lot of water to go at, 2 actual swims down to our right that aren't even being fished as part of the match, and they kind of like lay in the boundaries as like the 12th swim, so we're not going to have anyone down to our right, and yeah, everything, well, I'm pretty buzzing, as you can probably tell. To be fair, I'm really happy with this swim choice. 11 out of 12, there was only this swim, or swim number 6, which was well out of our choice of swim. So I'm mega happy with this one, and I'm quite surprised, to be quite honest, that it didn't go a lot earlier. I'll show you around the swim and stuff like that a little bit later on, but we're just going to pretty much kind of get things out of the van, get it kind of set up to a point, because we can't actually start leading around or doing any sort of prepping and stuff like that until 10 o'clock, just to allow everyone to get to their swims and stuff like that. So just going to, like I say, watch your water, get a little bit of you know, preparation done, ready for 10 o'clock, ready for the 11 o'clock start of the match, and yeah, see what we can do over the next 36 hours. But fingers crossed. I'm happy with the swim choice. Always a good start to any match. So let's see what the next couple of days has in store. Me and Chris, who I've actually forgot to introduce on this blog. How rude of me. He's here, my driver. Like, how rude. Like, wow, that's embarrassing. Sorry, bud. But yeah, part behind the swim, we made our decisions with the water that we've got in front of us. As I mentioned, in this swim we've actually got 3 pegs, and basically what we're going to do is kind of fish them as 2 separates, but we have to have our rods in 1 peg. So Chris has taken the left side, so spin the camera around. So Chris has taken the left side sort of this island, and if we just walk down to the edge of the swim quickly, basically spin the camera around, down here is all our water as well, basically to the edge of this sort of like bulging tree, to the corner of the reeds as well. That's all our water. Now, like I say, there are 2 other swims down there, and that's a lot of water untouched. So swim is really big, gravelly. Chris is going to fish his to the left hand side. Obviously I'm going to fish mine down there, so it's kind of, you know, 2 rods in this swim, 2 rods pretty much down in that swim, but fish from here. So, you know, we're not going to be impacting either of our fishing. It's not going to be kind of, you know, really pressured in one area. We're going to try and keep the rods apart, the rigs apart, and allow us to fish sort of 2 different areas as such, and covering as much water as possible. So that's the plan of attack. The Carp King is here. Rude of me not to introduce him. Just going to get everything, well, a lot of stuff's already unloaded, but there's no real rush. We can't kick off till 11 anyway, so that's the thinking so far. Let's hope the plan of attack works. Right, so whilst Chris is just finishing off his last little bit of markering up, the water is anything between sort of 1.5 foot to 2 foot down. You can tell just by looking down in the margins how much there is to step down on. Literally, you probably, like I say, a good 1.5 to 2 foot. But been leading around, and what I found is about 60 yards just going down into this channel. I found an area that just feels deeper. I've not marked it up with a marker float, but I've panned it around off the edge of this bush and just sort of off the edge of the corner of the reeds, which is my limit. And yeah, I just felt like what feels like a bit more of a drop. I have seen a fish show off the back of it as well into sort of like the open area of this sort of bay area, but I'm going to concentrate 1 rod in the middle here, which is, like I say, just over 15 wraps. I'm going to give them some bait as well. I'm not going to be shy. Like I say, it feels it's a bit like maybe a bit deeper, maybe like a bit of a channel or some sort of like little run through area, but it definitely feels deeper. You can tell obviously as the lead's making its way through the water. It's a bit hard to tell really, you know, in anything between 2 and 4 foot, but you know when it's going down, and you know when it's obviously plugging in straight away. And then the next one I'm going to fish just off this first reed line, come off it about a rod length, goes down really firmly, goes into about 4 foot of water. which again, area that's untouched. If anything is coming around the edges and making its way in sort of in the margins and stuff, then that one is, like I say, in a bit more of a deeper area. The wind is hacking down here into this end of the lake as well. So that's my thinking for now. Going to go with solid bags to start with. Like I say, I'm going to spawn a bit of bait out onto this furthest one and see if they react to it and fish solid bags in over the top of it. But yeah, Chris has found his spots as well. Are you happy with yours, mate? You've been having a little marker around and finding some depth, so he's found a, he's found a real nice area just into sort of like this this alcovey sort of bit that just comes into the island. He's found a nice spot on that, ain't you, bud?
Yeah, nice little large spot. And
just feels it feels a little bit harder, he said, doesn't it? And it is again about just shy of 4 foot, which again, in an area which is got an island around it. It's anything between sort of 2.5, 3 foot in areas, but this little spot just feels a little bit deeper, doesn't it, mate? So
feels like a little bit of a deeper hole.
So that's our thinking. We've got about 20 minutes until the hooter goes where we can start fishing. So I'm going to quickly wham out, I don't know, 5-10 spawns of bait tops, just enough to get a little bed down. And the other one I think is just going to be a solid bag with maybe like a couple of catties, a boilie over it for now. Feel our way into the session, see what happens. But yeah, that's our thinking. Let's see if it works or not. We are a couple of hours into the match and a few fish have been out, mainly down to the swims down to our left. So yeah, it's looking encouraging that a few fish are getting about and are getting caught. Nothing for myself and Chris yet, but have a look at this. Obviously we're stuck in this swim for 36 hours ever since the draw, 9 o'clock. We've been going to be in this swim right up until 5 o'clock on Sunday. So look at this for a home. We're going to be living like kings this weekend. We got Chris's, what's it called? What's this called, Chris?
The Avid road trip.
Gazebo / whatever, yeah, but
yeah, I think it's called it's Avid. I think that's called the road trip gazebo.
Road trip gazebo. Look at the size of it. Took what, 10 minutes to put up? No point us both having, bivvies or brollies either side, one or the other. We are literally going to be just sharing that as basically a double bivvy, to be fair. We got barbecue in the van, loads of food, drink, good selection of meat, and yeah, we're going to be living like kings and feasting like kings over the course of the weekend. So might as well live in a little bit of comfort if we've got to sit in this swim for, like I say, the next 36 hours. So one of my tactics for this session was going to be the solid bags. Now I'm using that on one of the rods at the moment and just sort of roving it around anything between 60 and 90 minutes, just see if I can pick off a fish or two, and not really dedicating it at the moment to one little area. I've got a few solid bags already made up with a few different hook bait colours in. I'm just trying to work out where they may be sort of in our section of water, and maybe sort of what colour hook bait that they're fancying. So I've just re-put one of the rods back out, and I thought I'd talk you through what I'm actually using and how it's kind of set up. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know that they've started to incorporate themselves into my fishing a lot more. So I've got a length of leader, and then it's going down to a 2.5 ounce inline lead, and then that's just obviously spliced onto a quick change swivel. As you can see, little hook on the end, and that allows you to just nick your the loop of your rig over that. Just pull a little sleeve over the little hook of the swivel, stopping your rig from coming off. Then I've just got a supple sort of 3.5 inches. That's not coated either, so that's just a supple braid. Loads of movement once it's obviously inside the bag. Going down to a 1/4 wide gape hook, a little bit of shrink tubing over the eye, a little bit on the shank of the hook. And then that is coming down to a 10mm juice, the juice Bait Tech, and that's a wafter, that one. They come in, to show you, they come in 4 different colours, so pink, white, orange, yellow. They also come in sort of like the pellet colour, so like a neutral colour, a light, sort of like a lighty brown, and a darker brown. I absolutely love these ones. I much prefer these ones over these ones, but at the moment I'm trying absolutely everything out of the 2 pots to try and just nick myself a fish and just get a get an understanding for what might be their their colour of the weekend. And yeah, they are the 2 perfect little sized hook baits for solid bags. So what I do is I just stick the hook bait into the corner, lay the rig flush along the bottom, and then start to load it, as you can see, with mini micro pellet. What I then do is just leave about a centimetre and a half at the top, just allow me to lick my fingers and twist it around the stem of the lead, or inline sort of inline stem, quarter stem if I'm using the tubing. Twist it around nice and tight, and that makes a nice compact bag. And then what I'm doing afterwards, just before casting out, absolutely love sticking this stuff into the solid bags. Just getting some hot chili oil, Bait Tech hot chili oil, oral syringe from any little supermarkets or chemist or whatever, probably a quid, less than a quid. Just drawing that out of a cap, so drawing that out like so, so that would be then fill up with oil. So just draw it out of the bottle, fill up with oil, getting my bag, just piercing it down the side, giving it a good squeeze, allowing all that oil to go into the bag. And then basically when you're casting out, that's just going to disperse in the area, stick to all the little bits of ground bait and stuff like that inside the bag. And yeah, just little plumes of oil will come up, hopefully dragging any fish in the area sort of down to the contents of that bag. This afternoon, pretty much on the solid bags, just been plagued by bream. Well, I can't even call them bream because they're not even any bigger than the palm of my hand. So solid bag rod is in, they're getting sacked off for the rest of the day. I think I'm just going to get the other rod back on the slip D rig, get it out for where I want to fish tonight, and just leave it be really. So that's going to be the one just off the reeds where I found that little bit of force, or like a deeper area earlier on. The other rod has been out all day with bait over it, not a sniff, but I'm going to put more bait out tonight. I'm going to put another 5 spoms out over the top, whip it in, fresh rig on it, back out, and yeah, like I say, put 5 spoms over it as well. Bit of an update for you in regards to the catching situation. There is sort of only 3 swims that have been producing fish at the moment, and that's next door to us, but in number 11 they've had 1 fish, and that's quite early on. Number 9, a couple of swims down from them, they've had 4 fish, and over the other side in peg 3 they've had 2 fish. So fish have been coming out, but yeah, there's still a lot of other people around the lake not catching. So so yeah, I'm going to persevere with with it, but not on the solid bags. Back to me slip D tactics, because the bottom's so clean here. I know it'll be presented well. Hopefully it'll deter those skimmers from getting amongst my bait, and I think pellet is definitely a no-no. So I'm going to get this other rod sorted. Chris has just pretty much just put his rods out for the night, ain't you, Chris? His have gone out on solid bags, so I hope he has a little bit of a better luck than me, but there's no chance that I'm going to be getting up in the hours of darkness for a bloody skimmer bream that's the size of my palm. So I've sacked that off, and I'm going to get switched over now and get that second rod out.
Right then guys, so obviously by the lack of fishy footage, the fishing has been a bit slow in our swim at the moment.
Not much been happening, mate, as to be fair. Not through lack of trying, apart from skimmer action.
Yeah, well, so I've had 1 skimmer.
I've what, 3 or 4 now, so I've given up on the solid bags for now anyway.
But yeah, and my skimmer was on the IQD rig, so I can't even blame pellet being attracted to them.
Bait's being the problem.
So. But anyway, as with all good fishing sessions, you break up the barbecue when the going gets rough.
We always kind of treat these matches as a bit of a social as well, don't we, to be fair, so...
But if the fish aren't going to feed well, we're definitely going to anyway, that's for sure. We're We've got a right old concoction.
We've got a right selection, haven't we? Proper meat feast, put it that way.
We've got chops, steak, sausages, burgers, ribs, chicken.
You name it, we got it, pretty much.
Yeah.
Within reason. We're not going hungry. Right guys, mega quick update without blinding myself. It's just after 12 o'clock and I had a real twitchy take, pretty much like a bream take if I'm honest. Quickly ran down to the rod, lifted into it, nothing, kept winding down, then made connection with a fish. And yeah, I can honestly say I've not had a scrap like that from a carp in a very long time. I generally thought I hooked into one of the catfish that are in this lake, and it was going some and going some. But flip the camera around, we have got one sulking in the retainer. Sam's just been phoned up, he's on the way, and yeah, he's a nice one. I've got a feeling he's going to go 20, definitely. But yeah, we're just going to get the rod sorted, wait for Sam and that to come and weigh it, and we'll let you know once it's on the mat just how big it went. Taking on a triple M wafter, and we got this chunky monkey on the mat. Buzzing, mate. Give me an epic scrap once I finally reeled down and connected into him. Must have swam into me about 40 yards. I didn't even think it was on anymore. But look at him. Proper fatty. Stripped about 30 yards of line off me as well once I've reeled down and got back into him. Nice fish. We'll just fling him round to the other side. That's come off the rod where I've obviously put a bit of bait out as well. So it's nice to know that they have got their heads down and got themselves onto the baited patch. And he's actually behaving for the camera as well, so it's always nice. But yeah, £23.9, buzzing. Happy days. So good morning. It's a little after first light, and as you would have seen from the previous clip or two, I had a fish in the night. Not had anything else since. Obviously I don't know how much bait's left down there or anything else, so I've just, as you would have seen, I've just rewrapped a rod, put that back out on the spot. I want to put 5 more spoms out. Now what am I using on this this session? Well, this session I am using the Triple N Shelf Life Boilie 10mm, 15mm. There's probably like a couple of handfuls of whole boilies in there. Most of it, probably 80% of that, is boilie chops, crumb, just run through a crusher. So all little bits, and just literally fine little bits and pieces, just to make a carpet, a cloud, you know, just an area that I can use as an attraction, because that is absolutely pumped full of liquids. Now, it's not really much foodie content really, because obviously there's just so many little bits and pieces. It's a bit kind of like a ground bait, but obviously just in a bit more of a bigger consistency. But obviously there are some bigger food particles in the mix here with the boilies. All of that has been soaking for like well over a week with the Triple N stick mix liquid and the nutty oil. So that is literally pumped full of goodness as much as possible. So it's, you know, it's really quite sticky together. You can ball it together. You know, it's taken on so much liquid, so it is literally oozing attraction. So what I'm going to do is stick 5 spoms out over the spot. So obviously I did have that fish at midnight last night, so I'm not really too sure how much bait is left, if any at all. So let's get going and get some out on the spot. So morning then. I've redone both my rods now. So the right hander went out back to where obviously I had that fish last night in here. That went out. Second cast, 5 spoms of bait over the top. So that's settled for the time being. But Sam, who runs the events, he's popped round to have a little chat, just finding out, catching up what's gone on through the night. And one is literally like nutted out, probably what, a foot off the island. So quickly rounding the rod that was just off this corner of these reeds. Has done nothing, you know, so what have I got to lose? Quickly wound it in, fresh rig on, little free bait stringer, popped it out onto the end of the onto the edge of the island. So yeah, let's see what happens over the next hour, if anything materialises of that. But it's the first show we've actually seen in our section of water since we've been here, to be fair. Chris is on about sorting out his rods now, aren't you, mate? What, you going to freshen it up?
No, I'm going to wind them in and pack up and go home.
Yeah, well, there you might as well, mate. He's not contributed, has he? Let's be fair. So what have I got to lose? But yeah, you're going to be just freshening up things, aren't you, mate?
Yeah,
doing some new rigs.
I need to wind a rod in and go and have a poo first.
Oh, there you go. Too much information, but still, I'll have all 3 rods, 3 nets, all full up by the time he gets back. So yeah, that's the current situation anyway. Like I say, nothing's happened through the night apart from that fish I had like just after midnight. But the rods are back out on their spots and we've seen the fish show in our area. So fingers crossed that something materialises of that. Like I say, Chris is going to freshen his up once he gets back as well. So yeah, still all to play for. End of the day, fish are fish, and you never know, we might be able to nick another 1 or 2. But let's see how the day pans out, and we will keep you up to date with any happenings. So we're coming into the last few hours of the match now, and I've realised I haven't actually talked you through what setup I used to catch that fish last night. So use what I pretty much normally use everywhere I go, and that's a lead clip arrangement. But I made a slight little change this time round. This time I've got some clay coloured lead clip set up. So this comes in a pack like the wee green one like I normally use, but like I say, this one is the clay coloured one, lighter in colour, blended more to the lake bed, and yeah, well, it hasn't done me, you know, any issues, because I've obviously managed to land that 23.9 in the early hours of this morning. Now, like I say, that's fish lead clip system. Just got like a 3 ounce sort of distance lead on there, just to punch through this kind of side wind that we got. Normally I'd probably just use like a flat pair, because I just don't want it digging into the clay, but just for aid of casting, like I say, I've used a distance lead just to cut through that side wind. That's going down to, like I normally use again, a quick link, sort of quick chain swivel with a little hook on the end, just to allow you to hook your rig on there. Little sleeve over the top of that. That keeps all that safe and secure. Going down to about, I don't know, 6-7 inches of semi-stiff coated hook link. That is, without pricking myself with that hook, that is the Jackal semi-stiff £20 in dark. Again, with sort of like an inch strip back from the eye of the hook, some heavy metal putty there just on the break, just to make sure that settles down nicely. Going down to a quarter curve hook, tied slip D style onto the shank, back of the shank of the hook, allowing that obviously a load of movement on the back of there when the fish is sucking it in. And that is then mounted onto, like I say, a bait swivel with a triple N wafter, and then that is tipped off with a 10mm Superfruit bait tech pop-up. Now that just sits sort of flush on the lake bed as so, and that is just hovering above the hook point, ready to just lift up and nail that bottom lip. Now the reason I put that little bit of tipper on the top is just for visual, really. Obviously I'm matching the hatch with the triple M wafter. That's what I'm feeding out there, obviously, with the crumb and the loose feed. So I'm matching the hatch, but I just wanted this hook bait just to have that little fleck of colour just to stand out from the rest. Now just before I'm casting out, just for my own peace of mind, my own security, a bit anal with stuff like this really, and I just obviously want to make sure that when it goes out, it's going out and it's not tangled around the shank of the hook or anything like that. Just getting a little bit of rig foam, giving one side a little lick, and just basically securing the sort of the bit of braid around the back of the shank of the hook to stop this this bait wrapping itself around in the cast. Like I say, there is a bit of a savage crosswind, so that could be doing all sorts in the air and I wouldn't even know about it. So that just stops that from happening. Also gives the rig obviously a little bit more lightness to it, so it just flutter down a bit more slowly if you wanted to fish it just casting out a single like that. But I'm also nicking on a little free bait stringer, sorry. I'm just squeezing the baits inside the stringer just so that they're kind of halved and a little bit broken up, just so there's like a little few baits just dotted around the hook bait itself. I'm just literally just nicking that onto the hook point. I know that that's going to go out, there's going to be no tangles, there's going to be a little mouthful of bait there, and that is all going to be laying then, like I say, flush along the lake bed, and that's all I'm using. So I've been casting a few of these around today just to try and nick ourselves a few extra bites, but like I say, this was the setup that managed to nick me that 23 pound 9 ounce fish last night. So obviously I spent too long with Chris, because I've now become the bream king. Look at the size of this. I've got a feeling it's like the biggest bream I've ever caught, and I don't really catch any, to be fair. But look at the size of this. I was just doing my little rig talk just to give you an insight about, obviously, I don't even know how to hold it. Show you what I've been doing with my rig and what caught that fish last night. Look at this. Oh, it's so slimy. You know the best way to hold him. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Chris has said like this is probably like one of the original ones that are in the lake back in, I don't know, back in the day, whenever. But look at him, proper
Unfortunately,
bream.
it don't count.
Yeah, look at that one.
Because I reckon he's about 10 pounds.
Coming up to the final hour of the match, and as you can tell by the sky, it is absolutely roasting. Even though we're on the end of this wind, my god, that sun is warm. Nothing else has happened since that slab of a bream. Literally, put that rod probably been out about 10 minutes. Just changed the topper colour on the wafter just to see if it make a difference, see if I can nick a fish. But that wasn't really what I had in mind, to be quite honest. But yeah, doing well. We've pretty much done a slow pack down over the course of the afternoon, and just, you know, chopped and changed tactics throughout the afternoon, see if we can nick ourselves an extra fish. But yeah, nothing's materialised of any efforts that we've really tried to put in, to be fair, and try and put a bonus fish on the bank. But yeah, we're pretty much 90% packed down now. Like I say, we have got like an hour left. We're just going to leave the rods out, everything's going in the van. Obviously there is 2 of us here if anything was to happen, but I think if anything does happen in the next hour, we'll be soon to get the cameras back out. But for now we'll probably leave it there. Like I say, we've got to go and do the presentation sort of shortly after 5 o'clock anyway for the winners and runners up and stuff, so